Okay, folks, let's start. Welcome everyone to today's community call. Before we start, just some infos. First of all, this community call adheres to the CNCF code of conduct, so please be welcoming with everyone. Also, this call is recorded, so if you don't want to be recorded, please turn off your camera. And last but not least, there is a widget section into the markdown that I have shared. I'm sharing the link in the chat. And you can add your name into that section. In this way, we know that you were here. Thank you. Today, I will be the MC of this community call. And let's start with some latest news. Maybe you already heard about the U-ring bypass that was discovered in recent weeks. Basically, a very TLDR of this security discovery is basically that U-ring is a kernel interface that allow to perform asynchronous input-output operation by submitting a group of operations into a queue, and those operations are then worked by the kernel. Since those operations are occur in a synchronous fashion, all the operation that the kernel perform does not pass through a specific syscall. So Falco is not able to intercept the specific operation that are happening, even though it is able to detect the configuration or U-ring operation that happens through syscall like U-ring setup, U-ring enter, and so on. So basically, this technique would allow to bypass or evade some detection that are in our rule set. However, we have to note that even if you are using your ring, the attacker requires to first gain access to the system, and Falco will still detect this kind of intrusion. That said, we published a security advisor for that, and we also create a plugin that use other kernel hooks to detect what is happening. And in this call, there are two contributors of the plugin, but also that worked on the security disclosure with me, that you are Luca and Leonardo. I guess you want to add some more information about this or the plugin.
Yeah, I can add something.
Go, Luca.
First of all, thanks a lot to Leonardo Di Giovanna for writing really a lot of eBPF code in Rust, which is definitely not trivial, and it's definitely very complicated. But essentially, the idea of this plugin is not to just offer some sort of specific IOU ring compatibility or some specific events, but rather to offer a more robust way to get a lot of events that we are already getting with Falco. This is both a way to catch these new types of event and also a way to see a bit into the future of the instrumentations, because the way that this plugin uses to collect these kind of things, especially the events. If you go, I think if you scroll a little bit up, you can see the event up or down. There is a list of events that you can have. Essentially, these that are open, connect, socket, Symlink and Symlink Cat. There's a lot of these events. These are the way we do it is so much more accurate than the regular way the probes use that it is very promising for Falco as a whole. So in general, I would say there are specific events of these ones, but since these ones are not exactly the same as regular events and they have a bit of a different meaning, it's good to have a plugin to be able to use them without having to break the rest of Falco. So I think that's pretty awesome in general. The fact that it's written in Rust means that we can actually make plugins that do very cool stuff in Rust, and the fact that we have Leonardo Di Giovanni means that we were actually able to do this. That's my take on this.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the plugin can work alongside the common Falco Syscall instrumentation, so you can basically load the plugin and add all these new detection on top of the usual ones. I don't know if Leonardo want to add something more.
Oh, no, it's fine by me. Luca said everything, so yeah, it's
Perfect,
fine for me.
perfect. Thank you to you both for this. Okay, the other topic is basically a very quick lightning talk. Actually, it's not a lightning talk. I want just you to share something new that I created in these days. I basically created a new plugin called the collector plugin. First of all, I want to explain why this plugin. Basically, now we are shipping a new container metadata implementation that is being worked by Federico. It's almost there. And at the current stage, we are testing it. One way to test it is basically to deploy a Falco fleet in our test infra and use our test infra as a stage environment. But after we did that, we realized that we did not have a way to test if this new container metadata enrichment implementation was actually populating all fields. At this point, another person in this chat that is Aldo proposed, but why we can create just a tool that check the Falco outputs and see if everything is fine or not. Uh, After one today, I came up with this simple idea basically, is that instead of create a custom tool, I just created a plugin that I call it collector. This plugin basically can ingest uh, Falco alerts. So basically you have a deployment with a fleet of Falco alerts that a fleet of Falco that push alerts into another Falco with these plugins. And since Falco is able to push alert in JSON format, the new the downstream Falco instance with the collector plugin and the JSON plugin is able to create rules on top of this JSON raw payload. This is something that we already do. I mean, filtering the JSON field in other plugin like the Kubernetes audit log. It's something that we already do. So basically, with a very simple plugin, I can show you for everyone wants to write a new plugin. It's basically less than 150 lines of code. It's a very simple plugin. It's basically it startup spawn a web server that accept a raw payload via HTTP post. Very simple. And let me go back. And basically, with this setup, we will able to do things like detect, for example, if a specific field is equal to a value or is populated or is not populated. In this example, basically, I'm simulating a common Falco instance that produces an alert in JSON. This is basically a sensitive file opened by reading a non-trust program, very simple, that I run in my host without a container, okay? Then with this simple rule that is basically JSON.value and the XPath selector for the JSON, I extract the value and I check if the value is equal to host. Basically, for each event that will be sent to this downstream Falco instance with the collector plugin, the JSON plugin, I can detect all events that are non-container event. In other words, that match host event. I believe this is a very compelling use case, especially for testing, but it can be used for a lot of stuff. For example, you can think to have like a funnel where there are some Falco instances that produce a lot of events. Then all the events will be forwarded. All the alerts, sorry, all the alerts will be forwarded into this downstream Falco instance with the collector. And at this stage of the funnel, you can create other rules to do further filtering and forward just those events that you are interested on. That's it, more or less. I don't know if you have any question. Before I leave you, I left you to talk. I let you to talk. The plugin is not released yet, even it was merged into the plugin repository today. I plan to test it a bit and then release the first version very shortly. If you have any feedback, of course, let me know. Question?
No, actually, I have a feedback. I think that this is a very interesting plugin, both for testing purposes, and for extensibility, because I think that this will let us introduce or prototyping new sources quickly. So yeah, it is promising to me.
Thank you. Thank you. Of course, the first use case I thought with this plugin is with JSON, but in theory, we can also write other extractor plugins that are able to extract fields from other protocols. I don't know, for example, if you have a proto buffer, if your raw payload is formatted using protobuffer, we can in theory write an extractor plugin that extract field from a protobuffer formatted message. So basically, I guess this can be extended in other use case if needed. Okay. We don't have any other topics for today, but if someone has some point that want to raise or something to discuss, feel free. The floor is open. Okay. I think there are no other topics, so I can call it a day. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.